Welcome back here to Viewpoints. I'm your host, Jordan Voyles. I'm sitting here with Dr. John Gerlach. We have started a new sermon series, and I'm excited about today's topic. So, John, what do you have for us?
Yeah, we're going to look at the different encounters Jesus had with a lot of different people. And I think one of the great ways you can have insight into who Jesus is and his life, his ministry, is to look at his conversations and and his encounters with different people. And there's all kinds of different people. And so we're looking at his encounter with somebody pretty powerful, a guy named Zacchaeus. So I gotta, ask you, did you ever know that song about Zacchaeus growing up? Did you ever know? You didn't
I
know
don't think I
that song.
really knew. Yeah.
You
I
know,
just knew that he was a small person. That's all I knew.
yeah, okay. So how tall are you? Just
6'1".
6'1". Okay. He probably wasn't 6'1". He was a little shorter.
Yeah.
And let me read the passage. This is Luke 19, and we have some great lessons, I think, out of what happens here. Jesus entered Jericho and made his way through the town. There was a man there named Zacchaeus. He was the chief tax collector in the region, and he had become very rich. He tried to get a look at Jesus, but he was too short. He wasn't 6'1", obviously, to see over the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree beside the road, for Jesus was going to pass that way. So I think we have some amazing things here to talk about, just about Zacchaeus. Okay, so he's powerful. He's rich. He's powerful. We learn two things. He's a chief tax collector, which means he's probably got a whole area, a whole region. And, unpack tax collector for us, because I know that, when you say tax collector, it's even worse than the IRS. I mean, people aren't real thrilled with the IRS today, but this is even worse.
Yeah, I would say it's someone that you probably don't want to spend most of your time with. I mean, back, especially in the Bible days, it was like these were the men that people hated.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's correct, but that's how I
know exactly. Yeah, they hated them. And basically because they ripped people off. It was a weird system, because what they did on taxes was the Romans hired Jewish people to get money from the Jewish people. And they said, we got to have this much, and you can get as much as you want to. And then they had the soldiers to back them up. So they were looked at as a collaborator.
It's kind of like traitor.
Traitor, collaborator, and then, ripping people off. They were very dishonest, too. There weren't any honest tax collectors. So you got really wealthy because you're ripping people off. Yeah. So you have this person, and okay, so, a couple things. I think some lessons here. You've got... this guy's got a past. He's not liked by anybody, but Jesus is going to make the difference in all that. And how Jesus relates to this guy is pretty amazing and pretty great. But I noticed something here I've never noticed before, because I think one of the things is how he comes to Jesus is a big deal. I want to get your take on this, because there's two things. One of them I've seen before. One of them I really had not really noticed before that much. And it was how, so he runs, which is, you don't do that. I mean, even today, when's the last time you ran? You haven't probably, unless you worked out. Okay. Why does anybody run? Why does a man run today? Okay. When you think about it, when is the last time?
You're going to get me in trouble. I don't know what to respond to.
When's the last? No, just go with that. When's the last time you actually ran? When is it? Not skate.
Okay.
No, you play hockey and all that kind of stuff. Doesn't count. When's the last time you ran? Really? Can you even think of it?
Yeah. The last time I really probably actually ran, I heard the ice cream truck in my neighborhood.
I have a list, but that's not on the list. No, here's why people run. Okay. A guy runs because they're working out. Okay. Or they just stole something.
Yeah.
Or there's a really big dog in the picture.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. So really, you don't run.
Yeah.
He's running, which is real undignified, and like his status is like, wow, that's just running. Then he climbs a tree. That's the second thing. You think about, if our
Yeah, when's the last time you climbed a tree? Never.
It's, I used to love climbing trees. That was one of my favorite things. Yeah. But if the mayor of our town, if Mayor Blong climbed a tree to see a parade, and that would make social media.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be like,
what is going on?
What is going on here? So he kind of really puts aside all his pride, all his dignity to find out who Jesus really is. So I think that's a really key thing. Another lesson is basically that Jesus knows that the main thing we need and that any person needs is a relationship with him. And he says that really shocking thing in verse 5. Jesus comes by, he sees Zacchaeus up on the tree, and it's like, this is a weird picture. He calls him by name. Oh, he knows my name. Zacchaeus, come down. I must be a guest in your home today.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a guest in the home there. That whole thing is about, we're going to have a meal. It's like what you would say, hey, we're going to have a relationship. Kind of like when we go out to eat with somebody on a regular basis or something like that. It's that kind of thing. And so, and I thought about how many people would ever go eat with Zacchaeus. Hey, Zacchaeus, hey, let's go do lunch.
That's a good point.
I don't think anybody was lining up to do that. The Romans hated the Jewish people, so they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Jewish people hated him, but here's Jesus kind of going, hey, I'm going to go eat with you.
Wow.
Of course, all the people around had a big reaction to that. That's some of the reason they had a big reaction is they wouldn't go eat with him.
Yeah.
There wasn't any way they were going to go eat with him at all.
Do you think that there were some things in his life that maybe, because it does talk about that he was short. I never really thought about that either. Like probably people didn't want to be around him. So do you think he had some, things that he maybe was worried that he didn't amount up to, things in his life that he's like, man, I'm alone. I don't have many friends. And so to be called out by Jesus was probably a pretty great experience for him.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think he's definitely searching. He's gotten probably what he wanted, which is I'm rich. There's a high price to pay for that, but he got it. Yeah. And then it probably wasn't all that, but
or insecurities, I guess is a better word.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think definitely. And so you're right. His scripture says he was so glad, full of joy. But then you have these people's reaction who are watching this, the crowd. And the crowd is just like, I can't believe Jesus is going to go to his house. I can't believe he's going to go eat with him. That's unbelievable. He's a sinner, this Zacchaeus guy. I can't believe anybody would want to do that. And, it's kind of a smugness, a little bit self-righteousness, I think, at that point. But I think the big lesson is that we all need that. We need that relationship with Jesus. And the amazing thing that he would care about Zacchaeus or that he would care about us, it's the same. It's the same kind of idea. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. It's a miracle that God would even care about us.
Do you think that's a lesson for us to learn, though, when we're talking about stories like this, where Jesus is like dining with sinners? Because you hear that all the time. It might be taken out of context. It's like Jesus was dining with sinners, and it's like, okay, yeah. But do you think it's something for us to maybe check our hearts and go, well, the Lord does look at the heart. We don't know what's in certain people's hearts, or maybe they're longing to be close to Jesus. Maybe they're longing to have friends and just dine with him. But do you think that's maybe a misconception of like, well, Jesus is just dining with sinners, rather to go like, no, there's something in Zacchaeus' heart that's longing after something bigger. And maybe we should look at it from that angle when we see something good happen to someone. Does that make sense?
No, I think you're right. I think that's how we should look at it. And I think it's interesting because he did go eat with Pharisees. He ate with Simon the Pharisee. He ate with other Pharisees. He was met with some Pharisees. The people he pretty much got down on. Condemned a whole lot. But you've got. I just think it's just he knows what somebody needs, and he did look at the outcasts.
Yeah,
and reached out to them. There was
Absolutely.
no doubt he did that.
Yeah.
I think one other big lesson is that I think Jesus knows what we can become. You know, I think the reverse way of saying that is, what would you be like without Jesus? When I think about my life, I think, what kind of person would I be without Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
I think I have a pretty good idea. It's not a pretty picture.
Really?
Yeah, there's just some of the things in our life that would come to the front and be in charge of our lives. If it's not Christ, it's going to be controlling us. And some of those things are going to be destructive. Some of those things are going to be very selfish. Some of those things are going to be very self-centered. So it's kind of that Jesus knows what we can be in his plan and purpose.
Yeah.
And to find that is amazing, I think. That, so it was pretty great. Here's what it says in verses 8 and 9. And here's what Zacchaeus does. Pretty crazy. Zacchaeus stands before the Lord and says, I will give half my wealth to the poor, Lord. If I've cheated anybody on their taxes, I will give them back 4 times as much. And Jesus says, salvation has come to this house today, for this man has shown himself to be a true son of Abraham.
Wow.
So, I mean, you've got, I think one thing that it's easy to skip over right there is, oh, wow, he's giving back all this money. That's unbelievable. But it's because salvation had come. In other words, I think the order is real important. It's not, hey, Zacchaeus, you're going to do all this stuff and then you'll be, you can be saved. You can be a Christian. It wasn't that way. It was like, no, salvation has come. Oh, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
He opened the door to Christ to come in.
Yeah. And it's not like get your act together and come to Christ. Make everything right and come to Christ. It was come to Christ, and then you probably got some things to make right.
There was action after.
Yeah, there's action after.
That's really good.
And I think a key thing here that I've skipped over before is he says, I'm going to do this, Lord. Well, the only thing you were supposed to say back then was Caesar is Lord. You don't call anybody else Lord. You don't do that. That's a big deal to call anybody Lord. We don't have that kind of concept, but you're supposed to say Caesar's Lord, and he says Lord, which shows that he's got a whole different view of Jesus. Yeah, he has really changed at that point. And
wow,
it's
a good way to look at it.
Yeah. So I think it's part of what's true about us doesn't have to stay true. We are sinners in need of a Savior, but, I used to be this, but now I'm that. It's just what Jesus does when he transforms us. It's just part of that deal.
In this new sermon series, when we're talking about the encounters that happen with Jesus, what would be one thing that you'd want to leave maybe the listener to kind of stick with us through the process of the sermon series? What would you leave them with?
Yeah, I think one key thing is this is a really fascinating thing to see all the different encounters that Jesus has. And Jesus always, it's not like a bunch of talking points. There's no, hey, let me meet you today. Hey, I like to talk about number 1, number 2, number 3. He doesn't do that. It's very much what that person needs, what they need to hear. Sometimes it's a word of correction.
Yeah.
He does that to the Pharisees all the time, calls them vipers. I mean, he's pretty strong.
Yeah.
And then he's also very gentle. He is also very plain and kind of blunt a little bit. And so I think Jesus always knows exactly what we need to hear. And if we'll listen, he has this great plan and path for us that leads us to him.
Wow, that's good. Pastor John, thank you so much. So listener, stick with us. This is going to be a great sermon series to follow along. God bless.